At a Milwaukee rally packed with fervent supporters, Donald Trump had an unexpected encounter that brought the crowd to a hushed silence. The energy was electric, with every eye fixed on Trump as he scanned the sea of red caps. Just as he reached his final lines, he suddenly stopped, his gaze lingering on someone a few rows back. The crowd, sensing something extraordinary, waited, breath held in anticipation. In the middle of the enthusiastic throng, Trump spotted a woman standing quietly, her eyes meeting his in a calm but powerful connection. She wasn't calling attention to herself, yet something about her felt familiar. His memory stirred, but the connection wasn't clear. Just then, Trump invited questions from the audience, and after a few spirited exchanges, he pointed toward the woman. The microphone was passed to her, and as she stood, her presence immediately commanded respect. "Mr. Trump," she said, her voice steady and composed. "I'm Melissa Young, Miss Wisconsin 2005. Trump, always quick with a remark, gave her a warm smile and replied with a playful, "I see." The crowd chuckled, and for a moment, it seemed like a typical rally moment. But what unfolded next was far from ordinary, as memories and emotions surfaced in a powerful exchange that left the entire crowd in awe. But as Melissa continued to speak, recounting her past experiences, something changed in Trump's demeanor. His usual bravado gave way to a look of increasing recognition. The playful smirk slowly transformed into an expression of genuine interest, and then, surprisingly, one of warmth. It was as if puzzle pieces were falling into place in Trump's mind with each word Melissa spoke. Memories seemed to flood back as the audience watched, captivated, witnessing a rare moment of vulnerability from a man known for his tough exterior. Trump's mind raced back to 2005. The pageant world, the glitz, the glamour, it all came flooding back. He remembered Melissa clearly now, a vibrant young woman full of life and ambition, with a promising future stretching out before her. Her smile had lit up the stage, and her intelligence had impressed the judges. Trump recalled thinking then that she would go far in life, but fate seemed to have other plans. Trump's expression grew somber as he remembered a day years after their initial encounter, when news reached him that changed everything. Melissa, the vivacious Miss Wisconsin, had been diagnosed with an incurable illness. The contrast between the energetic young woman he had met and the image of her fighting for her life in a hospital bed was stark and jarring. Without hesitation, Trump reached for a pen and paper. In an age of quick emails and impersonal texts, he chose to write a handwritten letter. He could almost feel the weight of the pen in his hand as he recalled crafting those words of encouragement and support. The letter wasn't just a formality or a publicity stunt. It was a genuine lifeline thrown to someone in need. Trump had poured sincerity into every word, hoping to provide some comfort, some ray of hope in Melissa's darkest hours. As Trump stood on the stage, these memories washing over him, he realized the impact of that simple act of kindness. Melissa had clung to those words like a drowning person to a life raft. His encouragement had become a beacon of hope, fueling her fight against the illness with renewed spirit, all because someone she admired had taken the time to care. The realization of the profound effect of his actions visibly moved Trump. His usual composure wavered, and for a moment, the audience glimpsed a man not defined by his political persona, but by his capacity for compassion. "I remember that," he said, struggling to keep his usual composure in check as all eyes turned to Melissa, waiting for her response. The atmosphere crackled with anticipation. This was no longer just a story from the past. It was a reunion unfolding in real time, with the potential to reveal a side of Donald Trump that few had ever witnessed. But that side was not just coming out in reality. It had been hidden behind his larger-than-life persona for a very long time, since way before he ran for president. That's when his path first crossed with a girl whose future seemed to be just as bright. Life seemed full of promise for the young woman from Edgerton, Wisconsin. After Melissa was crowned Miss Wisconsin at the age of 23, her beauty, intelligence, and charisma caught the attention of many, including Donald Trump, who owned the Miss USA pageant at the time. However, just a few years after her reign as Miss Wisconsin, Melissa's world was turned upside down. In 2011, at the age of 29, she was diagnosed with autonomic dysfunction, a rare and incurable condition that affects the nervous system controlling involuntary bodily functions. The diagnosis was devastating. Melissa went from being a vibrant young woman to struggling with basic daily activities. Her symptoms included severe fatigue, dizziness, fainting spells, and chronic pain. The once pageant queen now found herself spending more time in hospital rooms than on stages. As her condition worsened, Melissa faced not only physical challenges but also emotional and financial ones. Medical bills piled up, and the stress of managing her illness while caring for her young son, Jack, took its toll. It was during this dark period that she received an unexpected lifeline, a personal letter from Donald Trump. Trump had learned of Melissa's condition through mutual acquaintances in the pageant world. This handwritten letter, filled with words of encouragement and promises of support, arrived at a time when she felt most alone and hopeless. The letter wasn't just empty words. It was followed by tangible support from Trump's organization, including assistance with medical expenses. Despite the grim prognosis, Melissa refused to give up. Inspired by Trump's unexpected kindness and driven by her love for her son, she became an advocate for those with invisible illnesses. She used her platform as a former beauty queen to raise awareness about autonomic dysfunction and inspire others facing similar challenges. Over the years, Melissa's condition has remained a daily struggle, but her spirit has remained unbroken. She has become a symbol of hope and resilience in her community, often crediting Trump's support as a crucial factor in her ability to keep fighting. Now, standing in the crowd at his rally, Melissa is no longer just a face from his past. She represents a living testament to the power of compassion and the unexpected ways in which lives can intersect and impact each other. As Trump's question hung in the air, a palpable tension filled the arena. The crowd, moments ago a sea of excitement, now fell into hushed silence. All eyes turned to Melissa, who was fighting back tears, overcome with emotion. She began to speak, her voice initially trembling with the weight of memory and gratitude carried clearly through the now silent arena. "Mr. Trump," she began, her words punctuated by barely suppressed sobs, "I'm here to thank you in person for that letter. That was my biggest dream." She paused, taking a deep breath to steady herself. Trump waited patiently, his usual impatience replaced by a look of genuine concern and empathy. Melissa's voice grew stronger as she continued, revealing that Trump's generosity hadn't stopped with her. "But it wasn't just me you helped," she said, her eyes shining with pride and gratitude. "My son, who is Mexican-American and stood next to you on stage in 2005, received a full scholarship to college through your organization." A murmur of surprise and admiration rippled through the crowd. Trump's expression softened, a mix of humility and quiet pride crossing his features. At that moment, political division seemed to melt away, replaced by a shared appreciation for this moment of genuine human connection. Supporters and critics alike watched in rapt attention, witnessing a side of Donald Trump that transcended political boundaries. When he found the words, he delivered a powerful message every mother would love to hear. "We will be watching your boy. You know you're going to be watching him too because you're hopefully going to be around. Those doctors are wrong, you're going to be around. But we will be helping you nonetheless." The crowd stayed silent, looking at Trump with pride in their eyes. Here was a man who was often painted by the media as a shrewd businessman with a frozen heart, promising a dying mother he would personally be watching over her son if she was gone too soon. This image of Trump differed wildly from what many people in the audience were used to. And yet, at that moment, not a single person in the crowd doubted that he was speaking from the heart and not as a politician longing for votes. "Thank you. God bless you," Melissa said. The president's promise to look over her son meant the world to her. But she wasn't done with her story. She wanted Trump to know how much she admired him and how much his support had shaped her life. "I've been writing letters for my son for him to read when I'm in heaven. I'm telling him about what you've done for him and that he has a great responsibility now to pay it forward, just like you did with us." "That is so nice." "Thank you. So nice," Trump replied. Some people in the crowd would later swear that they saw tears at the corners of his eyes. He tried to keep still, but it was clear that the emotional moment was taking a toll on him as well. Melissa was openly crying now, her pride and happiness mixing with grief. Eventually, the sight of this former beauty queen in tears was too much for Trump. "I'm sorry," the president eventually said, addressing the crowd. "I have to go down and say hello. Is that okay?" The crowd cheered like never before when Trump stepped down from the podium and crossed the river of spectators before him to reach Melissa. As he approached her, the crowd parted like the Red Sea. People craned their necks and stood on tiptoes, desperate to witness this unscripted moment. Melissa stood there, her eyes wide with surprise and emotion, barely believing what was happening. When Trump reached her, he didn't hesitate. In full view of thousands of attendees and millions watching on television, he opened his arms wide. Melissa, overcome with emotion, stepped into his embrace. The hug was not the quick, formal embrace of political expediency. It was warm, genuine, and heartfelt. Trump enveloped Melissa in his arms, one hand gently patting her back in a gesture of comfort and support. For a moment, it seemed as if time stood still. Here, in the midst of a political rally, was a display of raw human emotion and connection that transcended party lines and ideological divides. As they finally parted, Trump kept his hand on Melissa's shoulders, looking her in the eyes with an expression of genuine concern and admiration. Melissa, her face streaked with tears, but beaming with a mixture of gratitude and newfound determination, nodded at whatever he was saying to her. The cameras, which had been focused solely on Trump throughout the rally, now panned between the two of them, capturing this unexpected reunion. In living rooms across America, viewers leaned in closer to their screens, captivated by the unfolding story of compassion and its lasting impact. As the huddle broke, a charged silence fell over the arena. All eyes turned to Trump, waiting to see what he would do next. The man known for his quick retorts and forceful statements now stood quietly, visibly moved by Melissa's words. It was clear to everyone present that what happened next would be anything but ordinary. Trump turned to face the crowd, but his demeanor had changed. "This," he said, his voice thick with emotion, gesturing to Melissa, "this is what it's all about." The arena was so quiet you could hear a pin drop. Even Trump's most ardent supporters seemed taken aback by this display of raw emotion from their usually combative leader. "Not politics," Trump continued, his voice gaining strength. "Not power, but people. Real people facing real challenges." He looked around the arena, making eye contact with as many people as he could. "This is why we do what we do. This is why I'm here." Then he turned once more to Melissa. "You keep fighting, Melissa. You keep holding on because your son needs you, and frankly, we all need more people like you. You're an inspiration, not just to your son, but to every single person in this arena and beyond." The crowd erupted in a thunderous standing ovation as the president pulled Melissa into a heartfelt hug. Meanwhile, across the state, her son watched with tears in his eyes, overwhelmed by emotions as he saw his mother happier than she'd been in a long time. The moment carried a deep meaning for Jack, who knew how much Trump's support had meant to her through her illness. As Trump returned to the stage, the room's energy had completely shifted. This wasn't just a political rally, it was a reminder of the power of human connection. The cameras captured every moment, and viewers across the nation watched in silence, moved by an act of kindness that transcended politics. The rally ended, but the impact of that embrace lingered, a testament to compassion's ability to unite us all. What are your thoughts on this moment? Share them in the comments below. Thank you.